Hi guys, Robert J. E. Simpson here once again, and this week, every day on my vlog, I'm talking about mental health issues because this is Mental Health Awareness Week. Now, I don't think that mental health awareness is something that we should just be doing for a week or even a month, but it's something that we should be aware of on a day-to-day basis. This is something that many of us live with constantly. And it's something I think that as a society as a whole, and there's that broad word society, is something that we're more aware of. It's something that we're getting more and more comfortable with talking about. Many of us are aware of sort of typical issues like depression or anxiety, but it's a very broad church and there are many, many more facets to mental health conditions and awareness than just those couple of things. Um, I want to touch on a couple of specifics today, just in terms of sort of guidance into how to, I guess, look after your own mental health conditions and concerns and just well-being. You don't even have to have something to, or be diagnosed with something to still suffer from negative mental health. I think one of the first things that sort of crosses my mind at the moment is about kind of clearing your space. I happen to live in a very, very confined space, and I have accumulated over the years a vast amount of stuff. And with a lot of stuff around you, with your environment basically overwhelmed with things, it can get very, very confusing, compacted. You can feel claustrophobic, and it's very, very hard to sort of see and navigate your way through that space properly. It's something that I'm acutely aware of, and it's one of the things I've been trying to do this last week or two is start to declutter a lot of my space, because I mean I pay money every month for a storage unit that has stuff in it that I literally haven't seen for a decade. It's stuff that has survived multiple moving of house. I've stuck it into a box at some stage and it's just gone from move to move to move, and I have no idea what's in those boxes anymore. I don't even know where stuff is that I do want, and that's not good. It starts taking away the joy from the stuff that you get, because having stuff isn't a bad thing. I have these things for a reason, but when I can't find them, when I can't see them, in my own little workspace that I have around me at the moment, there's just too many things, and that sort of clutters up the brain, and it's not good. So it's trying to see my way clearly through things. It's something I would recommend, is that to declutter your life if you can. And decluttering is I guess the general vibe that I want to go for today, because it's not just about things and possessions, and it's something also to be aware of, because it's one of those things that can also indicate that there is actually a deeper mental health issue, is when people start to completely give away everything. It's something that they'll tell you to watch out for, but also in terms of people, and to avoid toxic environments is sort of the other thing that I really want to push. It's something that can happen to us no matter where we are. Many of us are thinking about places of work. If you're working with people and employers and colleagues who don't value the job that you do with them and for them, if they don't support you through the decisions that you make, if they're constantly undermining you, questioning you, micromanaging you, or whatever else, it may well be that that is an environment that is not good for you, and in fact may not be good for anybody else. I've heard stories from friends who have dealt with ridiculous situations in their workplace, and I'm not going to go into specifics because they'll tell me off, and their employers might get at them if they can put two and two together. But there are an awful lot of toxic environments out there in the employment world, and that means that because you spend most of your time there, most of us will spend more time in our workplace than we do in our own homes. And to do that and to be in that sort of environment on a daily basis, if that's not a positive environment, if they're not treating you well, if they're bringing you down, that is not going to do you well whenever you come back into your own safe space. It negatively impacts you from there on in. Abusive relationships aren't just about domestic environments. They're not just about your romantic partners that you choose. And I know some of you will be wondering, why am I linking this to mental health? But actually, if you are living with toxic people, if you have toxic people in your existence every day, they will negatively impact how you feel about so many things. Excuse me. It's not even just about relationships. It is about the friends that we keep as well. I mean, my general rule is, if somebody brings you more discomfort, more pain, more problems than they do bring solutions and positivity, then they're probably not worth having in your life. There are people out there who thrive off chaos, who are not happy whenever other people are happy. And if these people come into your life, and I've experienced more than a few of them myself, if the sort of people who get off on just chaos constantly. I mean, I struggle with routine. I don't like the idea of a 9 to 5 job and doing the same thing day in, day out. But there's a gulf of difference between not wanting regularity and routine and actually needing chaos where people are tension and firing off each other. If you've got somebody in your life who is bringing in bad influence, and let's be honest, I mean, if you've got someone who is bringing in literal toxins, someone who is endorsing abusive behavior patterns within yourself, if you've got someone who is enabling bad habits for you or people close to you, maybe alcohol or drugs, and not that, there's a time and a place for all of these things, but it's about the excess. If you've got people in your life who are doing these things, who are basically helping to create this sort of convoluted, confused, angry state in your head, they're not good people to be around. And it seems like such a logical thing to say, but I think people forget, and I think people think sometimes that it can only just be in certain circumstances. So if you think about the advice you give someone in a relationship, if they're in a bad relationship, and most of us can spot them in other people, romantically, you can have the same sort of situations, the same sort of problems within friendships, in inverted commas. People who are closer to you can also be negative, and there is a time and a place at which point you need to sort of address your own situation and consider cutting out the people who bring only bad things into your life. Be very aware of people who are out there to use you, people who claim to be your friends, who claim to be supportive, but actually are never there when you actually need them. And if you come to them with a problem, will fire that problem back on you rather than actually listening to you and addressing it and trying to help. And it's pretty obvious whenever you remove yourself from that ever so slightly, when people are good and when people are bad. And bad people around us, not to make a moral judgment, but when we have toxic people in our lives, it negatively impacts our mental health and can bring us down. It can cause confusion for us. It can lead to our own distancing from other people. It can lead to work problems. And if you have a pre-existing mental health condition, can exacerbate all the symptoms of that. And if you find that once you're out of their company, that your pre-existing mental health conditions are better managed, that they're not being triggered, then maybe you might want to cut them out. And that's something I wouldn't necessarily endorse for everybody. Wouldn't always say you need to cut out people, but sometimes we actually just need to cut out people. I've done it myself. I've advised friends to do it. I'll continue to give this advice. And I guess it's egotistical of me to share it with you today, but nevertheless, I think it's something that we need to be aware of, is that the environment in which we surround ourselves impacts ourselves in our heads, and we need to keep it as sort of clear as we can for ourselves. And if you know that you're impacted by these things, then you want to kind of create a space where that's not going to be allowed to happen. I don't know. Take from that what you will. I'm going to talk about something else tomorrow, but we'll continue on this mental health thread all week. And, I hope that you're all engaging with the stuff that's out there. I hope you are. Do share your thoughts. I had some comments after the videos I posted yesterday, both privately and publicly. So please do talk. And if you need to, I mean, more than anything else, do talk to people. In fact, that's what I may talk about tomorrow, is the act of talking. So yeah, we'll come back to me then. You find me as usual on all the social media channels. I am Robert J.E. Simpson. On Wednesday nights at the moment, I am doing a little live feed through my Facebook page, 10 p.m. UK time. Just for an hour to chat with people and sort of reconnect with the world as we go through what we're going through. So please join me there. You'll find me on Twitter as Avalard, Avalard. Until the next one of these, take care of yourselves, and clear out your space. Clear out your headspace, clear out your physical space. You'll feel better for it, I promise.